Welcome to the HyperFast Agent Growth Show. Get real strategies, real results, and real estate them differently. Lead generation, team building, AI, and more from billion-dollar agents, best-selling authors, international speakers, and real estate coaches, Keri Shull and Lesniak. Let's dive in!
Welcome back to the HyperFast Agent Growth Show. Keri and I are super excited about this episode, particularly if you are a team leader or have a goal of becoming a team leader. You know, one of the things team leaders typically struggle with is onboarding. And I think a lot of people fall into this problem of like, okay, they bring on a new agent or a couple new agents, but the team leader's busy, so they don't have time to properly train them, and they wonder why they have a really slow start or they don't work out. So we're going to talk a lot about, I know you spent so much time doing this with your team, but we're going to talk about onboarding processes and how to use AI to speed that up.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to start with a quick personal story. So I started my career with NVR. NV Homes, arguably the most incredible training program for new construction sales in the country. And I'll tell you why they were so good at onboarding. Because they were hiring college students and grossly underpaying them and having them sell some of the most expensive real estate in the country at like 21 years old. Okay, so that was me. I went through that program. They sent us to a hotel and had us meet with all these incredible sales trainers. We learned something called PSS, professional selling skills. So I had that experience in onboarding. It was like the red carpet. And then fast forward in 2008, I joined Remax and it was like an actual train wreck. Like the onboarding was so bad. I remember at one point, I was writing my first contract. This is hilarious. And I look at the contract and I'm like, wait a minute. Why are they paying the listing agent and the selling agent twice? I'm the buyer agent. So I crossed that shit out. I crossed out the selling agent. I wrote in buyer agent. I'm like, no, I'm getting paid too, bitches. Like, what is going on? So I literally didn't even understand the contract. And then when I would like walk the hall of darkness and dread at the Remax, I was just looking for any agent that would help me, and no one would, right? And so I want the experience for people that join our team, our organization, to be the polar opposite of that. I want them to feel like they have the resources to get their questions answered. They're never walking down a dark hallway or calling someone's cell phone that's ringing to voicemail after like 30 rings. That's another thing I remember. It must have been like transferring phones and no one cared and no one answered. And so when we think about onboarding, when you're coming into a new industry, like as a real estate agent, there is so much to learn. And in our market, we have DC, Maryland, and Virginia,
And
and
West Virginia.
West Virginia, Pennsylvania, right? There's like all of these areas that are in close proximity. But really, the big three, we have three jurisdictions, and most agents that are really focused on growth have to get all three. There's three different contracts. There's three different sets of rules, even three different policies on the type of signs you can have. Like
Well, then you get into Maryland, and sometimes the contracts are different in each county. So
yes.
there's that too.
Yes, I just had one and I'm like, what? Like, what is going on? So there's a lot, even at this point in my career, when I reflect on being brand new, you're trying to learn how to market, you're trying to learn how to work with buyers, how to work with sellers. It can be overwhelming, right? And so from a foundational perspective, when we are starting an agent, we pretend like they know nothing because the majority of time they're in the situation I was in at the Remax. There is no formal training program. No one tells them how to have this playbook of success. And so our onboarding on a basic level, it used to be 2 weeks of classroom training. And that's because I was so afraid. Oh my gosh, I don't want to let people down. I want them to know what they need to know to be successful. And so they don't struggle the way that I did. But by using I kind of came to this conclusion of like, wow, I'm turning off some of the agents that I really want to be in business with. Like, if somebody's done 24 transactions and they want to do 50 transactions, those are my people. Someone who's done 50 transactions and wants to do 100 transactions, those are my people. I have the team to make their lives easier and to save them a lot of time. But guess what? They couldn't even join our team because our onboarding was from 9 to 5 for 2 weeks. and they have too much business to do.
Hmm.
So part of what we did was we started really talking to AI, and Jamie and I run the team together. And so we started to do these exercises where we were going through and we were saying, okay, here's our onboarding and here's why we think it works so well. We can take somebody who's never been in the industry and put them competing to earn the same buyer as someone who's been in the industry for 15 years and they absolutely kick their butt. Why is that? Well, we're teaching them all of the ways that they are different than other agents. And so they really have a different value proposition and a different confidence and a different process. I think one of the most important things, if you're a team leader, you have to create duplicatable systems. And you're probably a unicorn. That's why you're growing a team. But if you don't put the systems in place to be able to chunk it down and teach it in sections, it's going to be too overwhelming. The majority of people, there's a reason 90% of people who try and be real estate agents fail. And it's because of the dark halls of a place where they're not getting support and training and breaking down the information. So for us, what we did is basically say, okay, we're really good at getting new agents through onboarding. But what if we also want really seasoned agents to be able to have the opportunity to join our team? What do we need to change about our onboarding? Right? And part of what it came back with is you really need a hybrid model. We have an online academy. It's amazing. We have teams all over the country that use that academy to train their agents on the buyer process, on the listing process. But we were having them watch it in a classroom.
By the way, just so you know, we don't talk about EXP much on the podcast, but that is one of the free things that we give all of the agents that partner with us, in 22 different states now, I think. So, and it's like hundreds of hours of training and content
It
in there.
is. It's like systemized exactly how we recommend people do it. And we have agents that are coaching clients at Compass, at Remax, all over the country doing different models of a team, but they still use our buyer process to support people getting onboarded because it's so many details. You need to teach them how to convert on the phone. You need to teach them how to approach an open house so that they can actually convert successfully at the open house or they're going to stop doing them, right? You need to go through a buyer presentation process where they meet a brand new client that's interviewing multiple people and walk out of that appointment with a committed, signed loyalty agreement, right? And so in our onboarding, we do it day by day. It's still a 14-day, really intense program, but now we've only had 4 days that we've kept in office. The
Hmm.
rest are remote. That means if there's a freak of nature like me that wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning, they can watch the videos before their children wake up, or they can watch the videos or listen to the videos rather when they're driving to their next appointment. So that's opened the gates for a lot of seasoned agents to join our team. And I think the ratio, we made some of these changes after doing all of this talking on AI and realizing I had limiting beliefs around I want them to watch it in the class so they can answer their questions right away. Once we launched Kelly, that Kelly is an online GPT. We took hundreds of pages of content and hours and hours of our training and we put it all into this GPT, which is essentially a chat feature where somebody can ask any question they have while they're watching the videos. So I went from having hesitation and fear from those days of my Remax halls, right? To being like, well, wait a minute, if I can empower somebody to be able to watch this on their own time and they can still ask questions in the moment without moving on, hit pause, ask Kelly. Wow, that's like a complete game changer.
And so basically, like you go into Chat GPT, like if you're a team leader, you would go into the create custom GPT feature in there. And then, you start adding your training documents, any training videos you've made, any recordings that you've done or podcasts that you've done, and it learns how to answer questions as if it was you, right?
Yes. And so I was actually going to do a live demo. What do you guys think? You want to see it?
Let's try it.
Okay. So I'm going to push Kelly and I'm going to ask a question about the script, right? Hey Kelly, when I'm trying to establish timing and motivation on an initial phone conversation with a client, what are some of the questions you recommend to get that information fastest? So I just put that into the chat and boop, it's right in there. So whatever it is, if they're watching our training on open houses, and they're like, "Oh,
Oh, it typed it out. I thought I was going to talk back to you.
well, I didn't do the
Okay.
talk one. I just because I didn't want to make it, it might be a very long answer, right? Are you thinking about making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Or is this more of an exploratory conversation right now? Right? So it's making sure that they don't feel too much pressure. It wants to be non-threatening. Um, if everything lined up perfectly, then when would you want to be in your next home? Those are like my words. Those are exactly what I would tell somebody, right? Then it's saying, if you're trying to establish more information about their current situation, hey, can you walk me through your current living situation? Are you renting? Do you own? Or is there something else? Because a lot of people right now are living with
Living
a
with parents.
family member, and this is like the 2026 version of how to ask that question because a lot of people didn't want to admit that before, right? But because the economy has been challenging, that is the thing. People are moving back in with family members to save money, right? So it's walking through how to gently force the timeline of a decision. It's giving tons and tons of valuable information. Funny story, when we first launched this GPT, we were really focused on it to be able to give extra support to all of our agents that were onboarding so they could get real live information like they were on the phone with me. And I was role playing with it. And I know my script. I'm really freaking good at it, right? So I'm going through the script and then I paused and I said, how am I doing or something? And she's like, oh, your tone is great. You know the script, da da da. She goes, but Keri, BTS. I'm like, that's what I say. Book that shit. Right. So she was telling me, like, don't stall, like, don't ask for feedback, just book the shit. Right. So I think what's happened because of having this GPT is it's giving us the confidence to have people have more autonomy. And people who are entrepreneurial, that are our kind of people, they want autonomy. They don't need to know every single word to say. They're like, give me the blueprint, give me the playbook, make sure that I get my questions answered, and watch me run. And since we've made those changes, here's what we're seeing. We have agents that have ratified 2 deals their first month out of training. Mary Beth, that I was talking about in one of our earlier episodes, started door knocking the day after she graduated training. She got a $1.8 million listing immediately after that. So I think it's like this shift in how we're onboarding has saved a ton of time. We used to have a full-time person doing onboarding, guys, because think about it. If you have 2 weeks of onboarding, and it's 9 to 5, and every month you do it again, that's 6 months out of someone's years spent onboarding.
Well, do you think you'd actually be able to quantify, like the typical team leader or sales manager, how many agents do you think they could manage? And then if they implemented something like this, like what does that number increase to?
It's insane. So the other thing I have to tell you that's important to know, we added Shiloh. Shiloh is like a multiplier of a leader's time. And so let me tell you a little bit about Shiloh. We loved Kelly so much that we're like, how can we take what we're learning from the agents using Kelly and apply it inside of our CRM? Well, then we were introduced to Shiloh, and Shiloh is an AI tool that's listening inside of our follow-up boss and giving instant scoring to every single conversation that's happening. So if I'm on the phone, I might get a 3 star out of 5. And a 3 star is actually quite good. That's what you're focused on getting, but you want 5 stars. So everyone's focused on keeping their score above 3 stars. A 5 star means you asked all of the right questions, you listened carefully, you had empathy, you read the client's emotion correctly, and you responded with the right emotion. So fives are hard to earn. Well, when an agent gets off that call, they can click a button and role play the exact same conversation with the exact same emotion and practice again until they get a 5. So what's happening is we can see each agent's score. We know, oh my gosh, like a newer person on our team is a gentleman named Rustam. he started getting 5-star calls like immediately on the phone. We're like, what is he saying to people? Well, boom, we can take that. We can take a category of 5 stars and have people listen to them for training. The first day we got Shiloh, we saw our first 4-star and we're like, oh my gosh, we got to listen to this. It's this agent that's been with us. Well, I used to live with him. He was my roommate back in the day, right? Dan P. We listened to Dan P's call. I think he's been on the team for 12 years.
12 or 13
12 or
years.
13 years. And of course, he's the first one I see. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look what Dan P's doing. He got a 4-star. We listened to it. It was a $3.2 million appointment. And he BTS'd that, right? He booked that shit. So we're listening to that. So when Dan's question about how many agents can you manage, well, if you have a tool like that that is systematically upgrading their skill without you investing time, but is enabling you to give recognition when they're crushing it on a phone call. Like I sent a video to Dan P immediately after that, and I'm like, holy shit, I just listened to you book a $3.2 million lead. Like, I'm so proud of you. Way to go. On the other side of it, if I'm seeing somebody's consistently getting 1 stars, I need to coach them up or get them out. Because if somebody's getting 1 stars, they are killing valuable leads, valuable opportunities that someone else who is going to get a 4 to 5 star could be calling. And so it gives you, as the leader, advanced metrics at your fingertips that are really easy to interpret so you can have meaningful conversations faster.
Okay, so prior to this, what do you think the cap is on a sales manager, team leader, agents
Thank you
managing?
for
And then
making
after.
sure I give you the actual answer. So I would say easily you could manage 20, 25 traditionally, but not with the same caliber of quality feedback, right? Because I used to spend hours going in and listening to calls, and sometimes I would feel like I was on a rabbit chase because the client wasn't that motivated and I was listening to the wrong kind of calls. Now I find that it's a lot easier to categorize the ones that I need to focus on. And I can see who's making calls easier. So I would say I could probably manage 200 agents with the same amount of work as I was managing like 20 and better.
Well, I think that that really strikes at a theme that we've talked about on some of our episodes. We just Tim Harris and Casey and some others on another podcast just talked about today. But it's this idea that AI is not going to replace agents, but the agents that learn how to use it will replace those that don't. And
Mhm.
in your own individual agent business, like AI is going to help you do more. If you're managing a team, it's going to help you do more and do it better. Like if you could, you know, like it still takes a person, right? It still takes a team leader. It still takes sales manager to like put the training in there and customize this program and learn how to use it, right? So that that person's not going away, but now they can either more effectively manage the same amount of people and get higher results, or they can increase that number and still do a better job at it.
Absolutely. And the idea of people being fearful that AI will replace you, like I promise you, if Kelly said that a boy to DNP, it wouldn't really hit the same way as me recording a video where I'm like, I heard that, I'm recognizing you, I saw that, right? People want people, but AI gives you the ability to execute your vision so fast that it's giving creative people that are scale oriented an incredible advantage.
Wow. Well, anything else but before we sign off here that you think they should know about AI
Uh,
onboarding?
I mean, I could talk about this topic forever, but I think you guys have some nuggets there. The one thing I'll leave you with is don't be a unicorn. Like, it feels good from an ego perspective to
Mm.
be a unicorn, but it feels really bad as a team leader when you don't have duplicatable systems because you're constantly thinking, well, what's wrong with them? Why can't they do what I do? And actually, you need to say, what's wrong with me? Why can't I put it into a system that somebody who's less advanced and less skilled than I am can do successfully? So if you're trying to onboard agents as a unicorn, it will never work because the agents who are successful at completely winging it aren't going to stay with you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning into this show. If you have ideas for future topics, by the way, I want to mention this. You can, wherever you're consuming this show, if you're on YouTube, leave a comment. If you're on iTunes, you can check out the show notes and direct message us right from there. Our contact information is there. Let us know what you guys want to hear on future episodes, because we want to make sure that we're giving you guys the most applicable things and the things, not only what we're doing in our business, but what you need more of to help your business be more profitable. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
You've been listening to HyperFast Agent Growth Show with Keri Shull and Lesniak. Real strategies, real results, real estate done differently. If you love this episode, tap subscribe and share with another agent who's ready to grow.